Gotham City has fallen under the tyrannical control of Mayor Pamela Isley and a deeply petty, deeply dangerous Vandal Savage. Operating as the police commissioner, Savage has unleashed a militarized squad to crush the Bat family. But his tyranny doesn't stop on the streets. Savage has been framing honest politicians, legislators, and upstanding citizens who oppose him, throwing them all into a brutal new Supermax prison. When these political prisoners started mysteriously turning up dead in their cells, written off as self-harm or unfortunate accidents, Barbara Gordon felt she had to intervene. Alongside Batman, she hatched a cunning plan. She deliberately tipped off Savage's men to her location and let herself get arrested, sacrificing her freedom to protect the innocent from the inside. She was stripped of her costume, her tech support and her gadgets, forced to rely entirely on her wits and her fists. Almost as soon as she arrived at the facility, Barbara realized just how hostile the place truly was. The prison is staffed by corrupt GCPD rejects and packed with inmates who absolutely loathe the Gordon name. She didn't even have time to settle in before she was forced to defend herself, quickly dominating Di, who claims to be the daughter of Two-Face. Humiliated, Di immediately retaliated by ratting Barbara out to the entire cafeteria, exposing her identity and painting a massive target on her back. With Barbara standing tall, the guards begrudgingly took her back to her cell, where an unseen figure ambushed her. Barbara was left battered, broken and confined to the prison infirmary with a cracked skull, fractured ribs and a broken wrist. In her medicated stupor, her mind began playing tricks on her, causing her to hallucinate her faceless attacker as the Joker. Meanwhile, out on the streets of Gotham, Jim Gordon crossed paths with Nightwing. While Nightwing insisted they respect Barbara's wishes and leave her to her mission, Jim revealed that he had already pulled some strings to send his own mysterious, potentially dangerous brand of help into the prison to back her up. We were initially led to believe that a prisoner turned nurse named Sparrow was that help, but she was actually pumping Barbara full of powerful hallucinogenic sedatives. While drifting in and out of consciousness, Barbara hallucinated a Grim Reaper-like figure stalking the halls, tapping on the cell bars and brutally murdering an inmate. It's pretty clear that Sparrow isn't a saviour. She is likely the killer, using her medical access to eliminate Savage's political targets while keeping unstable inmates like Di in line. The issue closed with another Grim Reaper figure entering Barbara's cell, while she lies there, completely defenseless. Now, things looked pretty grim for Barbara at the end of issue 2, but when we see her in issue 3, she's waking up in her cell the next day, being summoned to roll call. So this suggests that Barbara's mind is filling in the blanks with more abstract figures, in this case the Grim Reaper. It's more representative of the danger she's in, rather than saying that a dangerous figure is actually in her cell with her. At least I think that's the case. But that next morning, everything seems normal. There hasn't been another murder, and Sparrow is there ready to hand over her meds. It's clear that Barbara is suspicious and doesn't seem to actually take her pills. She can stand on her own, so Barbara and the other prisoners are sent to the yard to get their daily mandated exercise. Barbara is clearly in no shape to be out of bed, but she forces herself. While out in the yard, she assesses the situation, looking for anything that seems out of place. She has a photographic memory, she can recall the blueprints, and at first glance, everything seems to be in order. But there has to be something that she's missing. Before she can complete her thought, though, she's approached by the tattooed lady with the shaved head from the first issue. Her name is Kaita, although I still don't know who she is, and let me know if you do, and she's ready for round 2. Before Barbara can respond, she's floored by a crushing pain in her skull, the lingering effect of her injury, and she hallucinates the Grim Reaper coming towards her. Her mind clearly interprets Kaita as a Grim Reaper, someone that is against her and means her harm. While she's unconscious, her mind drifts back to a case she had worked on, where she teamed up with Nightwing, Huntress and Batgirl, well, one of them, to track down the Joker. Their investigation led them to the Hannah and Hala Memorial Hospital, which seems to be a rundown ruin. There are 4 floors to explore, including the basement, so they each take one to check. The place appears to be empty, but Barbara makes a discovery. She wasn't able to get over the name. There were no records of any Hannah and Hala in Gotham, and it really picks away at the back of her mind. While looking at a portrait, the penny drops. Hala. It's a joke. Ha ha ha. Which means this is a trap. And it's interesting to see how when Barbara is in trouble and doesn't know what to do, her mind goes back to the Joker. Now this is because of the events of The Killing Joke, where he shot her and left her paralysed for years. But he didn't just physically damage her, he traumatised her. And a peculiar quirk in the way that our brains work is that when you're traumatised by something, your mind keeps going back to it. But here, Barbara is putting her trauma to good use. She's using that memory to help assess her situation. Curiously, when she comes to, Kaita isn't there, but Sparrow is. Her solution to Barbara's fainting is to offer more pills. Yeah, she'd like that, wouldn't she? But Barbara refuses to take them. It's then that Barbara notices a carved circle on the wall. This is the only thing that she had seen that seems to be out of place, so it is likely the solution. The problem is she has no idea what she's looking at, and she has another seizure. It's almost like the mental dead end caused her ailment, like she's metaphorically banging her brain against a brick wall trying to force some form of enlightenment. And I suppose, in a way, yeah, she does. Sparrow offers to help her again, and Barbara rejects her, running away. In her haze, someone grabs her by the wrist and tells her that she knows that she's Batgirl and that they are there to help her. Curiously, Barbara also sees them as the Grim Reaper, indicating that she doesn't know who to trust. In the struggle, Barbara falls backwards and hits the electric fence, separating the male prisoners from the female prisoners. It's not clear if she tripped, fell, or was pushed. Maybe it was a little of all three. But her new helper isn't exactly off to a good start, is she? I believe that this woman is the help that Jim Gordon arranged for, and she doesn't seem all that concerned about Barbara's shock. No, she just stands there with her arms crossed, draped in shadow, and simply repeats that she's there to help. Although if that's her idea of helping, I don't really want to see how she hinders people. A couple of commenters on the last video said that they hope that this mysterious figure is Andrea Beaumont, and as a Batman the Animated Series mega fan, I would absolutely love that. Andrea does exist in the mainline universe, although to be fair, continuity has been all up in the air since the Dark Knight's Death Metal crossover. And the fact that she wears a costume that resembles the Grim Reaper would fit nicely with Barbara's hallucinations, but maybe a little too nicely. I'm not going to proclaim that this is definitely Andrea, but I have my fingers crossed. It wouldn't surprise me if she ended up being either a brand new character or some other obscure figure. Now, the issue ends with Barbara likening the prison to Hannah and Hala, a joke staring her right in the face, and a trap. It's then that we're shown that someone is monitoring the security camera feed in a dark room. And I think it's fairly safe to say that this is the Calculator, given that we've already seen that he's aligned with Vandal Savage and the Minotaur in the main Batman series. He had been a rival of Oracle's, essentially a criminal information broker, so the two have history. So, ultimately, yeah, not a huge amount happened in this issue. If you break down the events, it's essentially Barbara Gordon went to do some exercise, had a really bad headache, stared at a wall and fell on an electric fence. But while the events were fairly limited, more details about the mystery and some of the key players were revealed. And like any good mystery, whenever more information was revealed, it results in more questions being asked. But what did you think? I keep going back to the potential identity of the mystery protector in the yard. The cover of issue 4 gives us a better look at her face, and I don't recognize her. I wondered if it might be Dinah Lance when I first saw the cover a few months ago, but given the way that she's acted in this issue, that doesn't seem likely. Fingers crossed for Andrea Beaumont. Let me know if you've got any other guesses in the comments below. Special thanks to my channel members, the Back Issue Brigade, whose names are on screen right now. They help to make my videos possible. If you want to see your name on screen and get access to some exclusive videos, then join the channel now. I'll be back next week to discuss Absolute Green Arrow 3 and Absolute Flash 17. Hope to see you then.